Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing. Today I'm working on a 12 by 12 wood panel. It is an old piece that I didn't like and did not complete. It was causing me some frustration, so I just stopped trying on that particular one. And these are some of the elements and paper bits that I pulled out to use. I don't use all of them, and there's the I was trying to cover up that bad project. But I decided that it was stressing me out. I worked on this quite some time ago around Christmas time, and I just kind of stuck the panel away and didn't want to look at it. And I decided I pulled all those old pieces out so that I can give them a new life. And so that's what I'm doing here. This piece right here is a jelly print that I did using Sean Petit's lace stencil. The stencils that I'm using on this project are all from SeanPetit.com. The stencils are the Bricks and Bubbles, the lace stencil as is represented in the jelly prints, as well as the Fave Words 2, I believe. So I'm going to be applying all of these papers randomly around the panel. And again, this is a 12 by 12 wood panel. I've got some vintage book pages, vintage music pages, and then I'm going to come in with a beautiful butterfly napkin. And you'll be able to see a little trick that I learned for getting the napkin down to the top ply. It can be often hard to distinguish if you've really stripped it down to the last layer. So I'll be showing you that little trick. I saw it on a YouTube video and I thought I would share it with you all. And this jelly print as well is made with Sean Petit stencils. I believe that's the Mediterranean mini stencil, which I really, really love. I love all of her stencils, though, gaining quite a supply as of now, so it's pretty fun. And I am bringing those papers around the edge. I apologize, I didn't point that out. Some of the pieces I am bending the edge so that I can wrap it around the side of the panel. I really like those pieces where the texture on the top carries over on the sides as well. I think it's really beautiful and it's very eye-catching. I do it a lot. And this brush is from Prima Marketing. I believe it's Finnabair. And it's really nice because it handles the mediums, the gesso, the matte medium, and all of that really well. It cleans well. It doesn't get stiff and hard, and that's a hard thing to find. So I really, really like it. They're fairly long and take a little bit of getting used to. And they also have a textured end, which I haven't tried yet, but so far just using the brush. And here I'm just applying some strips around the sides as well, again to carry that texture around the edges. And there's just a close-up of all those pages. It looks kind of like a hot mess because it's a lot going on, but you'll see as we move along, that all of these steps add to the final product, and you can see every bit of this background in various stages through the finished piece. And I rarely do a project without using the vintage music pages, so I've just grabbed some of these from my stash. These are the originals. I have quite a bit, and I am using the originals. I scanned the book pages, so I do have a copy. So I apologize, that was my phone beeping. I never have the sound on, except I guess when I'm doing a voiceover, so pardon me for that. And here is that napkin that I was telling you about. And I left this in, even though I really had to fuss with separating the plies on this napkin. I wanted you to see that persistence is definitely necessary sometimes in this process. And so I was successful at getting that back ply off, but I still suspected that there was another. And the trick that I wanted to show you was if you put a little bit of Scotch tape on a corner of the tissue of the napkin and then pull it away, it will show you that there is another layer underneath what you're looking at. So I learned that on a YouTube video. I can't remember it's not my idea. I saw it somewhere else. But anyway, I'm just going to be applying this butterfly napkin also around the canvas, or the panel, excuse me. And I'm also going to be wrapping that around the edges, just as I did the other collage elements. And it really turned out beautiful. And again, you will see all of these bits at different stages in the final piece. Really quite beautiful. I love the mixed media process because you never know what you're going to get. And there's just a picture of a close-up of that texture and that collaging and the edges, or the sides as well. And I'm coming in with my golden fluid acrylics. This is the raw sienna, or excuse me, not raw sienna, it's the cad yellow medium. And at this point in the process, actually at all points of this project, I didn't know what I was doing. I was moving very much intuitively, not thinking too hard about what I was doing, just kind of grabbing and going with whatever was speaking to me at the moment. And so I brought in that cad yellow medium, and here is the cobalt turquoise. And it mixes with the yellow because I did not dry in between, and I did that on purpose. And it creates in areas where they are combined, it creates more of a green instead of the cobalt tone. So it was really quite beautiful. And just applying that just here and there. And it really is just a back and forth, kind of just looking at the piece and deciding, are you satisfied with it at any given time? If you're satisfied, you can stop. If not, keep going. You can always cover it over if you don't like it, as you saw in the original piece that we're building on here. I have found that most things are recoverable. Even if it is just covering it completely up, at least then your materials are not completely wasted, and you can, and the panel or the canvas or whatever substrate you're working on, you can continue to use. Here I'm just coming in with the cad yellow medium again, and the teal, and just kind of going back and forth, just again intuitively, just placing it where it looks like it needs it, or where I don't know. It's hard to describe the process unless you do it. It's just really kind of not thinking too hard about anything and just laying the paint down. And that's the beauty of mixed media. And here I am also doing the same, repeating that pattern on the edges as far as color and tone. So again, wanting to create some uniformity between the top of the panel and the sides. And I did dry there in between lifting this up to give you the close-up. And just really love the texture, especially on the sides. It's just so beautiful. And here I'm coming in with Sean Petit's Fave Words 2, I believe. And I'm just going to, again, at this point, I did not know what I was doing. I just grabbed it and I'm like, I'm just going to put all these words just randomly upside down on their sides, all over the piece. And I actually brought it around the edges, as you'll see here in a little while, but I just wanted those words to be in the background. At this point in the process, I was feeling like this was just a really light and fun piece. And so I wanted it to be one of those that just kind of like you look at it and you're like, that just is so happy and so light. And so that's kind of what my thought process was in doing that. And here I'm coming in with Sean's Bricks and Bubbles stencil. and just randomly placing that around the piece. It was kind of at this point that I was beginning to think about circles in this piece, and you'll see here as I move along that I grabbed a few bottles of mediums, etc., and used them to make my larger circles. So that was just a close-up of that. Again, the beautiful texture and the beautiful words. It's just really was really pretty. And so I'm just coming in again with random sizes of different mediums that are just sitting here in my studio just to make my circles, and using my charcoal pencil to draw those lines. And kind of going in a V shape from the upper left-hand corner down towards the bottom right, and then back up again. And I felt like it was really pleasing the way that it flowed on the final piece. And here I'm coming in with Arteza. This is pale green, and just coming in, and I was a little bit, there was a little bit of trepidation here as I've never really tried this kind of style on a canvas or on a more three-dimensional surface. I've done this kind of thing in art journaling and things and cards and things like that, but not on a panel. So this was definitely new. So you'll see me going back and forth between the various colors that those circles ended up being. This is the cad yellow medium again, and I apologize earlier. That was all the the cad. Oh, Indian yellow. I apologize. The background yellow was actually Indian yellow hue golden fluid acrylic. I apologize. This is the cad yellow medium. All of the supplies will be listed on my blog. And so you can check that out if you're interested in what products that I used and what the colors of the different paints were. And so here I just decided I wasn't able to get enough definition with my finger around those circles. So I went ahead and grabbed a brush and just kind of finessing those circles and making them look more circular instead of weird shaped. I can't even talk tonight. It's a Sunday night, and it's work tomorrow, and I'm a little bit behind in my goals here for the weekend. And so I'm trying to get this one done so that I can get it uploaded overnight tonight and get it on my channel for y'all to see. So here again, I'm coming in into the rest of the circles with that pale green, and that's the Arteza acrylic paint. And I'll just be doing kind of that same dance, bringing in the pale green and then the yellow, and then some other colors kind of as I move along. Once I get all these basic shapes in, then I kind of can step back and see what else is needed to make those look the way that I want them to look. So I think it's really important in mixed media to be okay with playing, to be okay with not really knowing what the outcome is going to be. And I've probably said this before, some of my best pieces have been things that I created that I had no vision of, that I just let go of all of my expectations, and I just let myself go and move with the piece and the process. And it's deeply satisfying to do that rather than to try to control the outcome. Hence the girl face and the partially painted flowers that are underneath these layers. So it's sometimes I get in a zone where I want things to be a certain way, and it just doesn't work. And if I'm not willing to let it go, I kind of rob myself of the experience of what might come from letting go of what my expectations were or what my hopes were, as is true with life, I think. Not going to get all heavy on this video, though. I'm trying to have fun. So I'm going to come in with my black archival ink and my one of my favorite French stamps. And it's not, I have a couple that are my favorites. So I'm just putting that script started with just putting it in the circles, just kind of randomly. And then I decided to go ahead and apply it in various places around the canvas, or the wood panel. I apologize. I work mostly on canvas, or have in the past, and so it's hard to remember that this is not a canvas, it's a wood panel. So it's like a cradled canvas, or a cradled wood panel. So I came in with this transparent Quin red, and I loved this. This was exactly what the piece needed for some really brilliant contrast. And so I sprayed some water on the top of the piece, and then I just applied that red along the top, and then sprayed it some more and let it run. And this was absolutely, it was just so perfect for what this piece needed in terms of contrast, and the brightness was just almost mesmerizing. I did have a step in here where I tried to add some white acrylic ink, and I ended up needing to wipe that back because I wasn't really thinking about the fact that it was an acrylic ink rather than an acrylic paint, such as these fluid acrylics and high flow acrylics. So you'll see me do that and then come back in with more of that transparent quinacridone red, or rose quinacridone red, pardon me. And I come back over that top area because I didn't like what this white was doing. And my hunch, and I'm not the expert, but my hunch is it was, there was some resisting going on because I was using an ink with the acrylic paint. I'm not really sure. If anybody knows, I'd be happy to hear your thoughts on it. But again, mixed media is very forgiving. And so I just kind of wiped it off. I didn't get rid of it completely, but I did wipe most of it off. And then I came back in with the quinacridone red. Again, that's a transparent high flow acrylic. And just came in and pumped that up again at the top and brought some of that vibrancy back that I had lost with the white. And in the end, it couldn't have been more perfect. I was so pleased with the outcome. I was just like, aha! Even as I was creating, I was just mesmerized by the process and so surprised that it was just perfect. So here I'm just going to come in with some more of that teal, and this is the golden fluid acrylic, and just kind of, again, just randomly placing it around the canvas just to kind of bring that color into the background a little bit more, so that it would tie in with the circular shapes there. And the balance was perfect. I loved the teal with the green and the yellow. And then the contrast against the red was just outstanding in my opinion. So you can let me know what you think. I thought it was beautiful. To be transparent, I struggle a lot in my art with contrast. It seems like I either go super light or I go super dark, and I haven't really found my way to do that, to get that contrast, and not go dark in terms of like browns and, making things look really antiqued and dark. So this piece was really fun for me to create because I felt like it was definitely a growth step in my mixed media journey. And here you'll see me as going ahead and applying some of those colors to the edges as well. And my camera sits pretty close to my work surface here, so it's hard for me to show you the full view. I hope to, in the next week or so, do an updated studio tour and show you how I've set up my camera. It's a little bit different and better, as well as kind of how I organize my studio, because I have a very small space and I use every square inch. And I recently updated my tables, my IKEA tables. They were just the Linman tabletops, and I got some new ones. And I have a lot better work surface that cleans up beautifully, and it fills my space really well. And I apologize for all of that drying time in there. I'm not sure what happened. I thought I had cut that out, but I'm not going to start the the voiceover again, so we'll just let that be. Sometimes that happens. I edit, and then somehow there are parts of it that revert back to its original, the original clip. So I do apologize for that. And just here coming in again with a little bit more of that teal. And this is not the cobalt turquoise, it's the lighter color and the teal. And I just really loved how when I applied it to the top, it just really brought out that contrast between the red and the greens and yellows in the background really beautifully. So I was really glad that I did that. And again, it's just an intuitive process where you're just, it always came natural for me to think that way, to just be like, oh, well, what seems like a good next step? But I know for some, that's really risky to just kind of let everything go and just try stuff. So I hope that as you watch my videos and as you hear me talk about my process, that it will encourage you to continue to risk and just see what you get, because it is really rewarding. And here is just a sticker butterfly that I got at the Dollar Tree. And this was really fabulous because I liked the colors in it, but they weren't as bold as I wanted them to be. And you'll see here in a little bit that I completely changed that butterfly just with acrylic paint. So I almost can't wait to get to that step so that you can see what that was like. Again, that was not my intention. There was not one step in this process that I knew what my next step was going to be. It was all just really random. So, very different from my normal comfort zone, but really, really good. And I think healthy, at least for me. And then I decided to come in with the fave words too, and go ahead and add a couple of words so they'd be kind of in the forefront of the piece on the top of those circles. So that was peace. And then in the upper left-hand circle, I'm going to go ahead and add embrace. And there was my phone again, because it's across the room and I can't get it while I'm doing this voiceover. So my apologies for the interruption there. And that is just a black permanent pen that I use often to kind of come in on that lettering and make some of those lines a little bit more solid. And it is waterproof, so it's safe to use in this case. And here is where I'm thinking, oh, I'm not really sure that I like this butterfly. What have I done? What am I going to do to fix it? I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I didn't like it. So I started with my outlining, which was a great place to start. So I went ahead and started to just make that butterfly pop off of the surface with my charcoal pencil. And then you'll see that I'm going to come in and add some acrylic paints in the colors that I've already used, and color those wings and make them look like they were made for the background. It is quite extraordinary, and really a nice surprise for me, because again, that was not my intention. I didn't really know what I was going to do. And as out of control as this piece felt for me in the making, it was also one of the most peaceful projects that I've done in terms of process. I really enjoyed it. And here I'm coming in with the charcoal pencil again, to go around all of my circle shapes. And in some cases I did, this helped me to define the shapes again and make sure that they were very circular and that they were not crooked or oblong in any way. And because sometimes it's hard to see through the layers, what you sketched down, that can be a little bit tricky. But they really popped up off the page and I really liked them. And I even went over the Quinn red there at the top, and really liked that as well. Thought that was a really good choice. I like how it brought in some of that dark, that dark shadow just really made them pop. And against that red background at the top, I thought it was really beautiful. And the charcoal pencil is nice because if you don't like what you put down, you can just wipe it off with a baby wipe, which is what you saw me doing there just a moment ago. And a little bit more of an outline around that butterfly. And here's where I start to come in with those colors that I used in the background. So this is the cad yellow medium. And then, and again, this was just completely intuitive process. I've never tried this before. But it was just perfect. It was like my hand had a mind of its own, and I didn't really have to think about what I wanted because I didn't really know what I wanted. I just kind of went with it and kind of went with the flow, and it was beautiful. So I do come back over it several times just to get a little bit more a darker tone there with each of those colors. And then I do come in with that transparent quinacridone red as well, because there was some pinkish colors on the original butterfly sticker. I believe that I don't. I'm trying to remember if I put a layer of clear gesso over that butterfly. I might have. I can't quite remember. I apologize. Because sometimes that slicker surface created by the matte medium can make it a little bit harder to get the result that you want. So especially because this started out as a sticker, I wanted to make sure that I had a good surface to have that paint kind of grab onto. So, and there's the quin red there that I'm bringing in for that, the bottom of the butterfly wings. And it was just so beautiful because it brought in all of the colors of the background and made it look like the butterfly was made for this piece, which it was not. It was from the Dollar Tree. Who'd have thought? But it was beautiful. And here I'm just coming back and forth and just darkening up those colors just until I get the vibrancy that I'm looking for, or that my eye is telling me I need. Because again, there was not a whole lot of thought involved in this process. I know I've said that a number of times, but I think I really want people to know that it's okay to not know what you're doing. It's okay to just take a risk. And so here I'm coming in with my Soho Soft Pastel in black and doing my edging as usual. Because even though I wanted the piece to be really light and bright, which it is, the soft pastel, that dark border, just really brings the piece together. It frames it. It makes it look really defined, I guess. The space is very defined, and I like that dark edging. And I also love how the black showed through underneath that quinacridone red, because it's a transparent acrylic. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I apologize for all of my stumbling over my words, but I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you'll check back to see what's next on my channel. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.